Welcome to the explainer. Okay, so what if I told you that the secret to having more self control isn't about fighting your cravings harder, but about giving up the fight completely? Today, we are unpacking a really counterintuitive idea that could honestly change your entire approach to building a healthier life. So let's just start with a question that, let's be honest, almost all of us have faced. Whether it's about that late night snack, the urge to light a cigarette, or, any other habit we're trying to kick. Why is it just so draining? It feels like this constant uphill battle, and a lot of the time, a losing one, right? We're always told the answer is just have more willpower, be stronger. But what if that very idea that we have to fight our cravings head on is actually the trap that's keeping us stuck? The advice we always get is to, distract ourselves, ignore the feeling, just power through it. We're told to treat those urges like a light switch and just flip it off. But, really, does that ever actually work for anyone? Okay, let's just try a quick little experiment right now. For the next few seconds, I want you to follow one simple rule. Whatever you do, do not think about warm, gooey, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. Seriously, don't think about that amazing smell or the taste, nothing. So, what's on your mind? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, it's cookies. Yeah, if you're like most of us, trying to push a thought away just makes it roar back even stronger. You probably want those cookies even more now, don't you? And that little experiment just shows us the problem perfectly. This whole strategy of trying to suppress our thoughts, it usually just backfires. You can't just turn the thought off. But here's the really crucial part. Maybe you don't have to. So, if fighting our cravings is the trap, then what on earth is the way out? Well, the answer is surprisingly simple, and yeah, maybe a little bit radical. That's it, right there. Instead of fighting harder, the new science of self-control is suggesting that the real secret is to just stop fighting altogether. It's about giving up the struggle. This brings us to a really cool concept called willingness. It's an essential idea in a practice known as acceptance and commitment therapy, and it's all about allowing your cravings to just be there. Think of them like clouds passing in the sky. You notice them, but you don't have to get swept away by them. Just look at the massive shift in perspective here. We're moving from this constant internal war to a state of, peaceful observation. Instead of trying to find that mental light switch and turn it off, you just leave the light on and then choose not to act. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a bit like wishful thinking, right? But this isn't just a nice idea. It's an approach that's actually backed by some really compelling scientific research. So let's just look at the data. Researchers pooled the results from 6 different clinical trials, all focused on quitting smoking, and they found a really dramatic difference between the old way and this new way. And the results were just crystal clear. People who were taught the willingness approach, to allow and observe their cravings, they were twice as likely to quit smoking as the people who were taught to just avoid and distract themselves. Twice. That is a huge, huge difference. So, okay, we know it works, the science is there, and it's pretty encouraging. But the big question is, how can you actually put this powerful idea into practice in your own life? Well, it really breaks down into a simple 3-step guide. First up is awareness, which is just about noticing the craving without judging yourself for it. Second is diffusion, and that's all about creating a little bit of space from the thought. And finally, number 3 is self-compassion, offering yourself kindness instead of criticism, which is so important, especially if you slip up. So the first step is awareness, and really it's about getting off autopilot. So often we just react without even thinking. So instead, just for a moment, try to notice the physical sensation of that craving. Like, where do you actually feel it in your body? Get curious about it, but without judging it as good or bad. Okay, step 2 is diffusion, and this is about creating that little bit of space. There's a super powerful and simple tool for this. You just rephrase your thought. So for instance, I need that cookie becomes, I'm having the thought that I need that cookie. Do you see that little shift? By adding that simple phrase, you're not tangled up in the thought anymore. You realize, oh, I am not my thoughts, I'm the one who is observing them. And in that tiny little space you just created, you get your freedom back. You get the power to choose your next action. Now, this entire concept can be summed up with one really powerful metaphor that makes it incredibly easy to remember. So imagine you're in a big game of tug-of-war with a craving monster. It's on one side, yelling at you to give in. And you're on the other side, pulling back with all of your might, trying so hard to resist. You pull, the monster pulls back, and you are just locked in this exhausting, endless battle. But here is the core insight of this whole thing. What happens in that tug of war if you just let go? If you stop pulling, you stop struggling, and you simply drop the rope? Now, the monster is still there for a little bit, but you're no longer locked in a fight with it. You're free. By allowing that craving to just be there without getting into the struggle, you take away all of its power. And you know what? A lot of the time, you'll find it just gets bored and wanders away on its own. So the real key takeaway here is this. True self-control isn't about winning some exhausting, brutal fight. It's about having the wisdom to choose not to fight in the first place. It's about dropping the rope. And that's our explainer for today. We want to leave you with a question to think about. Think about the struggles in your own life, big or small. What is one rope that you are just tired of pulling on? And what might happen if you chose to simply drop it?